button, and within a day, it's manufactured for them, and they can go to the access facility and pick it up, or it'll be delivered to their house. It's not already made and waiting for them, because that would be a waste. What if nobody buys that there? Nobody needs it. Now it's wasting resources just sitting there, doing absolutely nothing. But you completely change it around where population doesn't matter if you do on-demand processing.
Yeah, I mean, it's where you talk about how your book is actually distributed. It exists on computer, but it's only printed out when there's an actual demand for the book itself, and then it automatically gets sent off to our printers.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly how my book is done. Yeah, so when somebody buys the book and then they go to, it's transmitted, then that gets sent off to the printer. It crunches out that book, it binds it, and sends it off. But there's no warehouse of books.
Exactly. Yeah.
And so that's exactly how you eliminate that problem completely, is you no longer make a whole bunch of things to facilitate what you think, to facilitate a dynamically changing population. And it'll even be more dynamic. Screw today. Imagine in a resource-based economy when you can freely travel the world wherever you want, whenever you want. Imagine trying to track the population of a city in that kind of system.
Yeah, screw that.
Forget it. It's no way. It's not only is it impractical, but it's kind of stupid to spend your time trying to gauge the population flux.
Also, if you want to talk about the food production company that you want to get started, I mean, I've only heard like little bits here and there about it. If you want to talk about that now.
Sure, absolutely. There's what I've decided to do is put my engineering background, my technical knowledge, to positive use by using the system and in a way, but with an RBE mindset, that kind of thinking.
Yeah.
And so what I'm doing is I'm working to develop fully automated, off-the-grid, solar, wind, clean energy powered facilities, aquaponic farm systems. Basically, it's got a fish farm built into it and it grows food, but because of the technology that's involved, it is high yield, small footprint. The building itself is no more than 2,000 square feet, probably not even that big. But what it can do is it can provide 10 different fruits and vegetables, about 2,000 people. And that's one person each getting 10 different fruits and vegetables. So that's how much it can create. And the whole point of this is these are small off-the-grid systems that are completely autonomous. They can literally be dropped anywhere in the planet. They're climate controlled, and they will just crank out food, and it's fully automated, which means it is a very minimal need for human labor to make any of it happen. The initial human labor bit is building it, which will be standardized. This will be cookie cutter kind of stuff. Basically, chunk, 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 chunk. You'll be able to just crank these things out once the systems are developed. But the initial part of my company, what I'm trying to start right now, and the reason why I'm seeking investors, is because we have to do a little bit of research and development to get all of the systems to work properly.
Yeah.
A lot of the stuff exists in one form or another already. So we'll get together and write up the software and do some of the development to get it to operate in a very smooth and streamlined fashion with proper redundancy so that if something goes awry, there's a backup to fix it. Things like that, so that people can enjoy the fruits of technical innovation. Aren't we supposed to be working less with all of these amazing innovations? I mean, I thought technology was supposed to make our lives easier.
Yeah,
however,
you would have thought, yeah.
Yeah, however, it has not been used that way. Because now I know you can do more, and if you can do more, then I can make more money, blah, blah, blah. And so that distorted mentality, instead of like, you know what, you can now work 12 hours, you can now work, 30 hours a week, and the robot will do the extra 10. That'll cover the difference. We're still going to be profitable. You get to spend more time with your family. You're still going to make a good paycheck, so don't worry about that. I'm still going to do well. We're all good. That's fine. Let's continue on.
Yeah, I mean
that sounds pretty reasonable, right?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, logic sort of dictates that, doesn't it?
Yeah. what I want to do with my company is actually solve a problem. And, I'm going to use the system as a means to do it because you got to play the game that you're in at the moment.
Yeah.
And there are a lot of people in the movement that want to completely disconnect from and yell at it and say, no, you can't use money to do stuff or anything like that. And God love them, I think it's completely stupid because you live in this system. You need to exist in this system as it is for now. But there is nothing that says that you can't use the system and try to change it at the same time.
Yeah, I mean, that's one of the things that I think a couple of times people have actually tried to call me out on and tried to imply that I'm a hypocrite because, they say, oh, you're out promoting this system, but you're still working and, you're still using money. And I'm like, well, what else am I supposed to do?
Right, exactly. I mean, we can hate the game all we want, but when your life depends on it, you have to play it.
Exactly.
Period. And now, so the best thing you can do is try to, in my particular case, try to create a company who is trying to be humanitarian and solve a problem, do it as cheaply as possible, which ends up eroding the system. And that's kind of what I'm trying to do, is erode the system from the inside out. Some people are going to try to attack it from the outside in. Those are the ones who want to completely abstain from it. You know what? I want to abstain from it too. So how do you abstain from the system? The only way you can get off the grid is to buy the technology that exists that gets you off the grid. Yeah. Well, how do you buy it? You're not going to buy that technology by hoping that somebody's just going to donate it to you. That's not going to happen. You're not going to get, several 240-watt, solar panels and a couple of vertical axis wind turbines on your house to get you off the grid just because somebody wants to be altruistic and give them to you. It's not going to happen. No. So what you need to do is you need to come up with a way to get yourself enough money to get off the grid. And then now all the money that you're saving because you're not paying, you help your brother get off the grid or your sister get off the grid. And then you set up a contract with them and you say, okay, once you're off, you need to help somebody else. And then you need to help somebody else. The whole pay it forward kind of thing. If you're gonna save all this money by not having these bills anymore, use that saved money to help somebody else. Still maintain the same quality of life that you have, or increase it and maintain a comfortable level, and then any extra money that you get, don't go buy a fourth car or a yacht or some BS like that.
Yeah,
take that money and help somebody that get off the grid.
Yeah, because just by buying a new car or a yacht or something, it's just completely contravening the whole reason why you got off the grid to begin with, is to stop relying and stop advocating the system itself. Exactly.
Yeah. And so, I'm following the pay it forward, but methodology. My first step is I've got to start this company to sell these systems. Yes, I'm going to make money on it, but people are also going to get fed. And by the way, the average cost per person is about $5 a month to get 10 different fruits and vegetables. So I want you to tell me when's the last time you went to the grocery store and paid only $5 and got an entire month's worth supply of fruits and vegetables.
Yeah,
that's what I thought. Yeah,
I can't think of. I mean, like probably I can remember back to my youth when like a Mars bar cost like 25 pence.
Right. So that's what these systems are basically going to do, is because of the amount of people that they serve, even though they're high tech and expensive, yes. But because of that they serve, it gets divided out in a way to where it's ridiculously cheap over the course of the lifespan of the facility. These are buildings that are going to be running for like 30 plus years.
Yeah.
With a built-in technical support system. In fact, the way I'm doing it is we're actually part of the building is a training program to teach the locals who are getting the food how to maintain and manage their own facility. There's a complete education program built into the building to teach them those who can read and stuff like that, how to do it. And then their job is to teach their group and community, pay it forward, pass it on. Everybody in this whole village in, middle Africa somewhere that's starving to death, within a year, the whole village should know how this system runs and how to take care of it if something happens, and who to contact if something happens that's over their head. And that's part of the plan. And guess what? That's going to cost them It's built in. That's something that we are providing to as the building as part of the package. And so we're going to work with governments and humanitarian organizations and other groups who can help these impoverished nations get these facilities built in their local area. And this can also be used in urban settings in the first world as well. Think of an apartment complex or a housing development. One of these systems could be built in the center of that housing development to provide fruits and vegetable needs for that whole community, that small community. And so when you buy a house in this neighborhood, you're also buying free access to this food facility that's built in. And when the contractors go to build this neighborhood or set up this parcel of land to build this neighborhood, they'll also buy into it. It'll be amortized into the system, will be amortized. I can never say that word right, into the system, so that food facility is in there. And that'll be part of like their HOA fees or something. But it ends up dividing out to probably be like I said, a couple of bucks a month. And they'll have access to 10 different fruits and vegetables. And the more buildings you build, the more access you're going to have to different kinds of foods. Or you can have multiple foods grown in a building so that you have a faster rotation. So that instead of getting, let's say, a batch of lettuce harvested once every 14 to 17 days, you can set it up to have 2 of them running and get a full batch once every 7 days. Or 6, something like that. You just have them on alternating cycles, a half on, half off cycle. And then, so there's different ways to approach it. It all depends on the needs of the group or wherever you're putting these buildings. And that's all customer dependent. But I'm going to use the profits that I make from this to get myself off the grid, to get, well, not profits. I'm just going to use my paycheck, whatever I'm going to pay myself off of it, to get all my employees off the grid. Because we're all going to have the same mindset, and then we're going to help our friends and family get off the grid. And then I'm gonna hopefully at some point make enough money with the company where I can start giving away facilities for free to places that definitely can't afford them, or the governments are so broken that they can't afford to do it. So I'm just going to give them away as donations and stuff like that. So that's the long-term goal that I'm trying to push.
Awesome. Right. Well, I mean, that sounds like an awesome project there, dude. I mean, if there's anything that you can ask for,
right now it's just investors. I just need investors. Once I move to Florida and get myself reestablished, that's where I'm going to start the company, because I'm moving to Orlando and at the end of July when the space shuttle goes away.
Ah, that's cool. Right, well, I'm afraid I've got to end it here. So if you want to shout out any websites that you want people to know about?
Sure, Zeitnews.org. My Facebook is Douglas Mallette, Mallette. I'm pretty easy to find. If you want to contact me on the food facility or anything else, that's the best way to reach me.
Awesome. Right, well, I'm afraid I'm going to have to close it out here because we've run out of time. I'd love to have you on again because there was a couple of things that we weren't able to fill in, but I'm sure. And
you thought we would have a problem with time?
Well, it just goes so fast, But anyway,
I'd love to come back.
Fantastic, and I'd definitely love to have you back again, Doug. Okay, guys. Next time I'm going to be doing Q&A. So from me, it's goodbye. Say goodbye, Doug.
Goodbye, Doug.